All right, today we're going to put together a cabinet that was designed for a laundry room. This cabinet was designed on a software called Mosaic and then cut on our CNC. Each of the parts that were cut on there have labels for them. There is an actual label maker that you can purchase from the software company to print out. Usually if it's a paint grade material, I'll write the part number on the actual wood. Since this is a pre-finished material that the customer selected, we just put some tape on there with the information. You probably won't be able to see real clearly this chicken scratch that's on there, but that one is a 3, cabinet number 3, and it's a fixed shelf. We will have the top and the bottom, a bunch of fixed shelves, 2 sides, a back, and then nailers and toe kicks. The only thing that we will have to do prior to assembly is miter this edge. This is a finished end, so we do miters on all of our finished ends. It makes it look a little classier than just a butt joint. Some people don't care, I do, so that's what we're going to do, and then all of those dados that are in there for the to accept the fixed shelves. So I will get to cutting that miter, and then we'll get back to putting this cabinet together. Before we get too far into the actual assembly of the cabinet, I wanted to show you what Mosaic looks like. This is a pre-designed cabinet set that we're doing for a customer. There's 4 cabinets in total. The one that we are putting together today is the tall cabinet on the right-hand side. You'll see it has 4 fixed shelves and an open cavity on the bottom. No traditional toe kick. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Once the miter is cut, get down here so you can see. All right, so that's what we're doing on the outside edge of the cabinet. Putting these cabinets together, the biggest thing is we want to make sure we protect that edge. So we make these, I guess, little jigs that will hold the mitered edge and keep it from getting marred up, dinged up. So that way, when we do put our face frame on, it's nice and smooth and crisp. Otherwise, it'll look like shit, and it'll take a lot of work to get it looking right. So we'll put these guys on when we set the cabinet down, and you'll see that as we put the cabinet down. All right, before we start putting anything together, we will take the bottom of the cabinet and put some Craig jig holes in the bottom, so that way it'll be a little easier to put it together. And I only use the Craig jig in areas where it won't be visible. So I don't typically use them on upper cabinets, but on the lower cabinets, on the bottom, I will do it because it won't be seen. It'll be sitting underneath the toe kick. I'll typically put 3 holes on each side of the bottom. And for the Craig holes, no particular reason of where I put them. I just try to put 3 on either side. I try to get one close to the front or close to the front and back, and then one somewhere in the middle. It doesn't really matter. So we'll go ahead and put the cabinet together now. It's always a little challenging to put together an 8-foot cabinet by yourself, but you'll see how I do it. If I was thinking about it and it wasn't Sunday and there wasn't football on, I'd probably have my son over here helping me, but he's too involved with his fantasy football team today to come over and help. It also was his birthday, 21st birthday yesterday, so I'm going to let him, give him a little bit of slack for that. So I'm going to put glue inside the dados before I take my bottom piece and put it on. I'll also throw a couple clamps in the cabinet also. I didn't feel like that screws were biting a whole lot, so I'm going to go ahead and put some clamps on there just to kind of help it. And it's always good if you have a wet towel around. You're always going to have a little bit of squeeze out when you put these cabinets together, so it's always good to clean it up now. It's a lot easier to clean it now than it will be after the glue's dry. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and put the top on. You'll see on here the back, the top has a dado for the back of the cabinet, and then rabbets on the sides to accept it into the dados that are provided on the sides of the cabinet. And it's not terribly long. Putting the back in probably is the most challenging thing to do by myself. On tall cabinets, smaller cabinets, a lot easier. When on tall cabinets, it's getting it and you know, sliding it in. So you can go ahead and watch me fumble around for a little bit doing that. I'm first going to go ahead and glue the dados where it's being accepted. Alright, so I disappeared for a minute. I was actually trying to clean all the glue from the inside. Got clamps on it now. I could pin nail it, but really it's not necessary. We'll just clamp it up, and it's always, you'll hear everybody say the same thing. It's always, you can never have too many clamps, so we have a bunch of clamps, squeeze clamps, these kind of quick clamps. We have some Irwins, some Bessies, and then some cheapies that we got from Menards, but they all do, I mean, essentially the same thing, and all we're trying to do is just keep pressure until that glue sets up. So we'll leave this for now, and then once we can remove some of those clamps, we'll come around and start installing the fixed shelves that are on the inside of the cabinet. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and install the fixed shelves. A lot of times on the tall cabinets we'll have one fixed shelf, you know, and do maybe a 70-30 split. On this one, the customer wanted to have all fixed shelves in there for whatever reason. So we'll go ahead and install those. Each of them will have dados cut in them, and the shelf itself will have a rabbet cut out, so those, once glued, will slide right in. We can throw some clamps on it, put some pin nails in it if we wanted to. So I'll stop talking and I'll get to work. Alright, so now we'll put on the nailers. Normally on a cabinet, upper or lower, usually there's one nailer. Well, on a lower cabinet there's usually one nailer on the top part of the cabinet. On uppers we put one on the top and the bottom of the cabinet. On a cabinet of this size, we'll put one at the top of the cabinet, one at the bottom, and then we'll put one in the middle. One, it kind of helps lock everything together, but also gives us another anchor point for the middle of the cabinet. So that is the cabinet in its glory. It's upside down right now. The bottom actually is completely open as opposed to being enclosed with a door. They wanted to be able to put dog food and water bowl underneath and still kind of keep it away from, you know, the walkway. So that's where that will go. Obviously flipped up, and we'll leave those clamps on until it dries, and then we'll figure out the toe kick situation, what we need to do there to kind of dress it up, and then get ready to put on the face frame.